Welcome to another episode of Moments with Nyengeterai, where we learn from stories and we get inspired, transformed, where we heal. And I hope that you're all enjoying the show. I would like to say thank you so much to the new subscribers. Thank you so much. Please continue to like, to share, and to send us your comments. You know, we can only grow once you continue interacting with us. So anyway, today, as we're going towards the festive season, I have a very, very exciting guest. She's a young lady who's doing some extraordinary things out there. Ashler, right? Ashler. Ashler, welcome to Moments.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. I have all these exciting things that I just want to ask you, and I'm just so excited. But before we start, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who's Ashler? You know, who are you?
Okay. So I'm Ashler Jaya, better known as the Mixologist. I am I don't know. I'm a very quiet, introverted person. Okay, not quiet. I'm an introvert. Loud around my friends, but I'm an introvert, which is definitely the opposite of the work that I do. Because I'm known for mixology and doing events. A lot of people think I'm extroverted and I like going out. But I'm just like a simple girl. I like nice things, but I just like being home, drinking wine, watching my series, and hang out with my family. Family is like the most important thing for me. I take my family values very seriously. And yeah, that's who Ashler is outside of the mixologist. Just a girl that likes to mix drinks and make food.
Oh, wow. So I want to start mixologist. First of all, how do you become a mixologist? I mean, I think you're old enough to be my daughter, I'm sure. Because I think I would be shocked if my daughter came and said, "Oh, Mom, I want to become a mixologist." You know, mothers.
Imagine the shock when my parents...
Yeah, so just take me there. Why become a mixologist? What led you to become a mixologist, and why?
So I'd always known I wanted to be in hospitality. So, growing up, my mom is like this person that loves to host. She likes to cook for people, and she used to love making like punches and all of these things when I was younger. So I always knew I wanted to get into the hospitality industry, but I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. I think for the longest time, I thought I was going to be a chef, to be honest. So when I went to hospitality school, I was like leaning towards becoming a chef. And I then went on an internship. And then on this internship, I worked a lot behind the bar. And then I kind of liked it, but I still didn't know how my family would take it. I come also from a very Christian family, like really Christian. Like alcohol was like something I never saw in the house. Like, if you had that one uncle that drinks, everyone would be like, they drink.
Everyone talks about this.
So I was just so curious. And then I just said like to my older sister, hey, at school, I can actually take an extra course with Cape Wine Academy. I want to study wine.
Wait. Where did you do your culinary school?
I went to the Swiss Hotel School in Joburg.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, let me speak to the parents about it, obviously. But then she ended up saying, let me pay for it if this is a hobby that you want to do, something extra. So she did that. Then after I graduated, I did a few travels, and then I ended up like in Florida, and I was working with this guy. He was a sommelier. So I was so fascinated because I was like, on my journey to wanting to become a sommelier. But when he started to teach me more about mixology and things like that, I was like, wait a minute, this guy makes this much money from talking about drinks and just putting drinks together. In Zim, it could never. That's what I thought. So
this was in Florida.
This was in Florida. So he taught me a lot. That's where I know, like I learned most of what I know about drinks from that guy. And then I came back home. I tried to look for a job as a chef or even in a bar. I couldn't find something. And then my sister was like, dude, why don't you try running a mixology service, cocktail service in Zim? And that's how it started.
Wow. And when you told your parents, I want to know the part when you told your parents. When you told your parents, what did they say?
I didn't get to tell my parents because I kept it from them for about 2 years or a year and a half. So when I started, only my younger sister knew because she understood what I was trying to do, and she would help me do everything. Like she would cut my fruits, go buy everything that I need to make drinks. She would come to events with me, help me, and things like that. And so she started to learn, and right now she's now actually like a part-time mixologist as well.
Wow.
So I didn't get to tell them, but it started becoming a thing. People actually started liking the drinks, and then cocktails now started to become a thing in Harare. So I was like, okay, when I started, people were like, no, that's too expensive. Okay, why should we do that? Do they even taste nice? You know, that kind of thing. But now the cocktail culture started to actually grow. I remember Queen of Hearts then started doing their thing and things like that. So now people were now fascinated with Instagrammable drinks and things like that. So blogs and pages will got like, onto it, and then some articles were starting to be written about my work and the kind of thing I'm doing. And I think also because I'm a black female in the industry, it was fascinating to a lot of people. And there was this article written about me, and my cousin sent it to my mom and said, "Is this not Ash?" And that's how my family found out.
Are you
I was like, well,
serious?
yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing. And it was a shock because the first time my dad came to visit me after a bit, he saw all this kind of alcohol like I needed for events, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, like, are you running a bar? Like, what do you do?"
Do.
And I tried to break it down to them so many times, but they couldn't really understand it. But now they get it, and they're so supportive. Like my dad is like the best business person for me. He gives me so much advice, and he just helps me out when I need help, like, with growing my business and things like that. So that's how they found out.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow, that's so that is so funny. I like the part that your cousin sent the
Yeah.
article to her. It would have been fun to see her reaction. I can imagine as a mother.
Yeah,
What
I actually kind of like ignored my parents for a few days because I didn't know what are they gonna say. So I was avoiding speaking to them. But what was surprising for me is they were so excited because they're like, "You're doing work where people want to write about." So that's when I was like, you know what? I actually should have just told them. They would have been with me throughout this whole journey. But then when they joined my journey, they've been so supportive, and it's really nice to
and I
see.
think that's so important
Yeah.
when you have that support. So tell me, how is the industry like? Talk to me about what the industry is like. I don't know what your industry. I know it's
Yeah.
I know it's culinary arts, it's
Yeah.
everything. But what is the mixologist
Okay.
industry like?
So, with mixology, right? I want to say that what people get confused about a bit is bartending and mixology. So, a mixologist is the person that's behind the cocktail. So, the mixologist is a person that understands beverages, beverage flavors, and the art behind beverages in order to come up with a recipe. A bartender is typically the person that delivers the recipe. So, like for my service, I came up with most of the recipes that we use for our events, and then my team of the guys that I work with, bartenders, I teach them. Then they then make those drinks at events. So mixology as an art in them, it's growing. There's a lot of bartenders, but there are no mixologists, like people that have been trained or home trained or yeah, there's not a lot of us. And when I first started, I could barely find anybody. But now there's a few. Most of the ones that I know have gotten to be mixologists through experience and through, working over the years, and some are just self-taught from home and things like that. So the industry is quite small, but it's growing. Like I would say, before I knew I had competition, but I didn't really feel like I had competition. But now I feel like I have a lot of competition, even though I don't really feel like a lot of the times it's the same competition because of the different clientels we have or the different kind of vibes that we bring to events. And I also have now, like, certain clients where I know every single year in December I do this for them. Every single year in August is their birthday kind of thing. So those kind of clients are always repetitive, and they always come back. So I don't really feel like there's competition like that, but there's competition. I don't know if that makes
Yeah, I
sense.
know that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. It does make a
Yeah.
lot of sense. And where do people like? Where do you trained in Cape Town, right? And then you went to the States. But I mean, where do people train? I mean, is there
Yeah.
training to?
So that's the biggest challenge I've been seeing, that Zim doesn't have a mixology school or bartending school, which is something that I really would love to do, and I'm so passionate about it. So training right now, there are a few places that you can train for bartending, which I think, if I'm not wrong, Bull Red runs something like that. And then there's a culinary school in Belvedere that also runs some bartending classes. But if I'm being fair, there's no actual place where you can go and Zim to learn beverages. I If I was to show you my DMs right now for the last few months, it's been people wanting to learn and they don't have anywhere to go. I've been teaching a few people, but I don't have, like, accreditation and certification yet. So I would also, be advising people maybe go online and get a course online and then start learning on the job, because in Zim right now there's no actual
Nothing.
place where I can say that bartending school. Yeah. So which is actually a problem, especially for people that wanna get into the industry as well.
When you're saying learn beverages, I mean, a beverage, for me, a beverage is a beverage.
Yeah.
Explain, can you break that down?
So different beverages do different things and they taste differently. So okay, let's take for example vodka, right? Vodka is made out of potatoes. There's a certain way that they make the vodka. So the potatoes ferment, and then there's first distillation, second distillation, da, 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 the process for you to have vodka. So the reason why it tastes the way it does is because of the process that it went through, and the potatoes, the kind of potatoes they might have used, or the cask where it was fermented, or whatever. So learning beverages is like learning from that first core of why vodka is vodka. Then you would know why I can play around with it in different other drinks. So, like, if I was to come up with the recipe, like some brands will come to me and say, "Hey, Ash, I have a new gin. Do you think you can play around with the gin and let me know if we can do some recipes and things like that?" So, my first thing is always I need to taste the kind of gin or whatever it is.
Must do a lot of tasting.
I will say that I do get a lot of free alcohol. I do get a lot. I do get to taste a lot, especially before people start to know about it. Because it's like, hey, I have this new thing. Do you want to taste it so that we get a perspective on whether it's good for the market, whether it's working or not. So from there I just basically tasted and I'm like, okay, maybe it's like a pink gin. It's got really rosy flavors. What do I think would complement those rosy flavors in order to achieve maybe a sweet drink, or maybe we're going for a sour drink. So it's like learning the beverages and then what you can do throughout the process to make it like a cocktail or a drink.
Okay. And what kind of personality do you believe a person should have to? Because I don't think it's for everyone, becoming a mixologist. What are some intrinsic values that a person needs to have?
I think that you gotta be a people person. So I am an introvert, like I said. So sometimes my my close friends and family say there's Ash and then there's the mixologist. Well, everyone calls me Mix, so I don't even think people know my name anymore. So there's Ash and then there's the mixologist, because the personality that I have when I'm behind the bar, interacting with people, trying to understand, like, what do you like to drink? Maybe they're confused on what they like to drink. What do you like to drink? Okay, let's try this, see if you like it. Just an interactive kind of vibe is so important, because um for me, I feel like, yeah, food is good at events, but once the party is started, we make the party. So our vibe is what carries the party. Like, I don't like it when I go to an event and then the bartenders are giving everyone an attitude, like, feel so hostile. So we try and be vibey, try and just have like a good vibe. I mean, there are some bad days. Everyone has bad days, everyone has good days. But I think an interactive and fun personality is always so important. And also wanting to know, just wanting to know stuff. It's it even broadens your creativity. Like, it's just like saying, but you know what, how can I make a syrup out of majanje and then use that in my cocktails? Just wanting to know why something is the way it is in beverage world or food world. It can actually just broaden your mind and creativity when it comes to working with drinks.
Oh, wow. What are the hardest parts of being a mixologist, especially a female mixologist in this market?
Whoa, yeah. um I want to say that there are two very hard things, which is crazy because I just said you have to be a people person is dealing with people.
Mm,
So with my job, yeah, we do a lot of events where it's churches or non-alcoholic kids parties and things, but a huge part of it is alcohol for
mm,
me right now in my career. So being a female working behind the bar, and people get carried away because a lot of our events are also private events, so
mm,
you're in private spaces sometimes and in people's homes and things
mm,
like that, and you do get sometimes guys that don't know when to have boundaries. Sometimes it gets violent, sometimes it gets, just that vibe as a woman. It's never all really safe. So when we first started, I just used to go with my sister, and then we had another girl going, and it would be three of us. And then I wanted to grow a girls team because I was passionate about, being a black woman and also plus size. Because in my industry, as a big girl, the first thing people are like, I don't go near lift that thing. Is she
mm,
gonna be able to do it? Is she gonna be moving fast enough? Even when I moved to Florida, my weight was actually a problem because I remember the first roommates I had were like, "Are you really gonna be succeed in this area?" I didn't let that get to me. It did get to me a bit, but I didn't really let that get to me because I knew I was talented at what I wanted to do. I just wasn't focused yet, but I knew I was talented. So I was very passionate about women, black women getting into the industry as well. But I soon realized it's not safe. It's really not safe for us to do that. So many incidences happened. So I started to add guys to our team, which are amazing guys. Well, I look for people that don't drink because I didn't want to have that problem. So they're
mm,
really amazing. So I guess men not knowing boundaries is like one huge thing for being a female mixologist, and having clients then protect their friends. Like, let's say it was a case where you needed to report it to the police, whatever. The client is always right in a sense. So taking those cases up is always so difficult. So I think that's one of the hardest things for me. Really,
mm,
that
mm,
um dealing with people when they get too drunk and things are just going not the right way. Um, and yeah, I think that's the hardest thing, honestly.
mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm,
Because if I think about anything that makes me sometimes take a step back and feel emotional, is that because you would have had such a good day and served really good drinks, but at the end of the night, something just, you know. So, yeah, that's the hardest part for me.
mm. And when something like that happens, what do you do when you get home? What's your wind
Mm.
down? What's your way of winding down? And
So I think the older I've been getting, the more I've been finding a way of coping. So the first few times, um, my sorry, the first few times my sister and I would go home and we would cry, like we would just cry. We would go home and we'd sit on my bed and then we would just cuddle and cry and watch movies for like a day, and then she goes to work because she has another profession. So she would go to work and I would stay home alone and I would just cry about it. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is such an unhealthy way of coping.
mm,
So then I started not crying, but I wouldn't want to talk to anyone for like a day or two after, which is not good for business because then I also have to run my business and talk to people. But now, when something happens, I kind of have like people, I feel like these are safe spaces. Like, hey, this is what happened. I'm feeling this and this kind of way about what happened. Um, but then I let it simmer down. Then if it's something that was really bad, then I bring it up with the client maybe after a day or two when emotions are down or people are not hanging or whatever. Like maybe it's a wedding, you don't want to ruin someone's honeymoon, so maybe I'll wait for them to come back from honeymoon and stuff like that. Then I'll be like, hey, at such and such an event this happened, and this person handled a lady like this. This is how I would like to handle it. And then most times the clients are really good. They will tell you, okay, no, this we need to report it, this is not okay. Then you get a few people that wouldn't want to. So I found that just being open about how it made me feel, or to someone, and then if it's if I'm in a space where I can talk to the client about it so that that doesn't happen again, then I'll do that. So it's an easier coping than just crying and locking myself up.
mm,
Just talking about it. Like an incident happened a couple of months ago, and honestly the exchange with the with the client left me feeling less heavy because they actually understood that it was not okay. and then they did something about it, which was really good.
Mm.
And it's difficult to get to a place where you have to tell your client that what happened is not great, because client is always king.
Mm.
So how do I tell the client that your brother or your uncle or someone touched me inappropriately
Mm.
when I'm on the job? You know what I mean? So yeah, just I think talking about it, just being open, but not being rude, not being confrontational, just being polite and open about the situation and how it made you feel and how you'd like to handle the situation.
Mm. Okay. You touched on something as you were talking about being a plus size and how people were treating you. Talk to me about that. How was that? I mean, like maybe take me through from high school and
Mm.
then going to culinary school, then going to America, and how you are now handling that.
Mm.
Mm.
So I think I've always been big. I've
Mm.
always been chubby at some point in my life.
Mm.
That's it's like genes for my family. So
Mm.
it's either you're skinny or you're big
Mm.
in my family. So me and my siblings all kind of look different.
Mm.
But my sisters are very loving. They never, and my brother, then my siblings never made me feel any kind of way about my weight. However, for my parents, I think it was a bit more difficult for them because um my dad used to be plus size, or he's plus size. So I think for him, he would think I don't want the journey of what he went through as a plus size person. So I never really used to talk about being plus size at home. And then at school, I hated it so much because there's the random comments, there's the bullying, there's yeah, school for me is not something I'll redo. I'll just tell you that I would not do high school and primary
Mm.
school again. Because people don't know when to stop or when to keep things to
This is what
themselves.
students, teachers, what everyone.
Mainly students. Can't really say there's one teacher. I mean, maybe a random comment that really made an impact to me about being plus size. No, not really, but me students. Um, Mostly students. My whole issue with being plus size was always the students.
Mm.
And for the longest time, you would feel like, okay, am I enough for something just because I'm not the same size, or desirable
Mm.
size? And my like I said, my sisters are like they hold me down, and they always show me so much love, and just having people that constantly tell you about your beauty, about how good you are at what you do and things like that. It started to leave like no room for doubt that what, I'm actually who I
Mm.
am,
Mm.
and it took me forever to get to that
When did that happen?
phase.
When did that click finally?
um when I actually started doing mixology, because
Oh.
for the longest time I couldn't find a space where I didn't feel like I had to shrink myself. You get it?
Mm.
So I hate to use public transport because of that.
Mm.
Just a windy saying one off thing to me is ruin my whole day. Well,
Mm.
that's how it used to be for me. It would ruin my whole day. So I'd rather stay at home if I don't have money for a cab than get on public transport and have that kind of thing. So I just remember one day like making drinks, and we had such a good time at work, and I went back home and I was like, I had so much fun, and I didn't even feel like I had to shrink myself.
Mm.
And then that's when I started being confident. Like I never used to like being in front of the camera, and started doing shoots as like other girlies, and I'm like, this is fun, this is
Uh, uh,
nice.
uh.
So yeah, and then when it came to working, you get to work and people are always passing comments, especially when we started our business. People, like, I remember some events, people would laugh like, you saying these two girls are going to be running the bar, this girl's going to be running the bar, they would laugh. But when they see us in our zone, they're like, oh,
Mm.
okay,
All right.
okay, and I'm always like, that's the thing, we quick to judge a
Mm.
person by their cover, or we're quick to judge without
Mm.
even checking someone's capabilities and
Mm.
things like that.
Mm.
But now I cannot say that it phases me. If you were to say something back to me, I'm gonna say something cheeky back to you, because why would you even say that?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm. What would you say to a younger you, like a 15-year-old? Ashla, what would you say to her right now?
Oof. Um This year, I had a lot of imposter syndrome. I didn't do half of the things I wanted to do. And that's because everything became so big, bigger than what I thought it would be. I thought I was just starting some bartending service and nobody gonna know me. I'm gonna be hired for events and then that. And then now you're getting brands wanting to work with you. People sending you messages like, you inspire me, your journey inspires me. I would just tell them, younger me, don't be afraid, just go. Like, just keep going. It doesn't matter. You're gonna experience some, some challenges, and that's okay because no one's journey is smooth. And just keep going. I think if I told myself that when I was 15, I would have achieved a lot more by now. But now that I know, I'm gonna do as much as
Much
I
and yeah,
can.
that's
Yeah,
really that's the
yeah,
spirit. That's the spirit. What gives
yeah.
you peace?
What gives me peace? I think it's I also cook as well. I think it's those moments when you're seeing this is someone's special day and they're completely in their zone and having such a good time and you contributed to that. Like the works of my hands are the reason why this particular event is making people vibe like that. Makes me so happy.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
it
wow,
does. Just
wow.
seeing other people happy because of what I can do makes me so happy.
Ah,
Yeah.
oh wow, that's really exciting. I mean, I think it's so. The way you said it, actually, the works of my hands. Seeing someone, it's like you're painting a picture. Literally, that's like the final canvas. So, what is the most challenging drink you've ever made?
The most challenging drink I've ever made. So I was working with this brand um called 1996. It's a Caribbean brand. They're from Barbados. So they were launching in South Africa and they wanted me to work around their rum punch. Beautiful drink, tastes amazing. I just couldn't figure out how to put it in a cocktail. And I had to come up with 10 recipes of it. And I just couldn't figure out how to put it in a cocktail. But the particular cocktail that we ended up making ended up being on this masterclass big thing that we did with like Americans in it and like people from all over the world. No one knew that I was so scared in that moment. It was such a challenge for me because I was like, if I just get it wrong, and it was live, there were so many cameras. And I'd never gotten that kind of experience where a brand puts so much together just for you. So it was so overwhelming for me. Like, oh my gosh, I traveled for this and if I don't do this drink, if it doesn't come out
Don't.
properly, or if people don't enjoy it, oh my goodness, what have I
My
done?
God.
For me, that was very challenging.
Uh,
Yeah.
Talk to me about that whole masterclass and going to perform, and how was it? How did you prepare for that, and all that?
Um, when I first got the news that I was gonna be working with this brand, I was very excited. And then when they told me that, you know what, we don't want you to do the masterclass in Zim because, that time
Did you
electricity was
apply or did
shaking.
they
No, they
approach you?
found me. So
Oh,
they were working with a mixologist based in America. So the person apparently was not professional and they were about to launch this product, sorry, and then they didn't have a mixologist. So they went to look for one. And they specifically wanted a black female mixologist. And that's how they found me. And it just so happened that that time they wanted us to launch the product, I was free and I took on the campaign. I was like, okay, I want to try. It was like my first big campaign thing working with brands, and I was excited. And then when it was leading up to going, I realized, oh my gosh, this is real work. Like they're not paying you for jokes. This is work. So I had to start coming up with recipes. I had to start doing all of that. And during that process, for me, sometimes I get so insecure because my fear is that what if people don't like it? But which is also the wrong mindset because flavors are different from person to person. So sometimes people can like try out a drink that I like and then they tell me it's not nice. So I was going through those emotions of what if people don't like what I'm coming up with? And then 2 weeks before, I was really excited. I would read up a lot more on mixology, try and refresh as much as I can on basics and things like that. And I spent so much time just immersed in this brand because I didn't want to mess it up at all. And then 2 days before we were going, I started to unravel the imposter syndrome. Who do you think you are?
Ah,
Going to USA to teach me something. Like, I started to unravel. And you tell yourself a lot of things
yeah, in your head.
in my head. And I remember my partner just telling me that you didn't get here by like chance or they don't have options. Yes, they had someone else, but they found you fit. You're actually good enough for it. They asked for your portfolio, you gave it to them, and they think your work is great. So why are we stressing? Why are you stressing? You are good at what you do. And that kind of calmed me down a bit. And by the time I think I got there, there was just so much going on. I didn't have time to think about the fact that I'm doing this. I only started to panic 1 hour before we had to shoot. And the videographers that they had were so nice and so kind. They would walk me through it, and they understood like it's one of my first time being in front of camera this big. Like, people from the other side of the world have paid money to watch me do this. So yeah, it was a lot of mental preparation, but I honestly had such a good time. I made a lot of errors here and there because human error. I was nervous, but honestly, the other people found it funny. They like the comment section. They found it funny and things like that. So I had such a good time doing it. Yeah.
What were the key learnings from that experience?
Um, that I'm capable really. Because I didn't have like such a long time to come up with those recipes and put everything together. I as much as I'd lived 2 years in America, but my take on mixology is more fresh produce. I love to work with fresh produce. So when you're coming up with stuff here in Zim and they're telling you it needs to be suitable for flavors in America, it's difficult because they have different kinds of produce from what we have here. But somehow I hear those recipes I hit. So I took that, what, you can actually do it. Like, you're very capable. And I also told myself, like, if something like this can happen, then bigger things can happen for you. Yeah.
That's something really important and really nice to hold on to. That, what, if I can be looked at for this, imagine, obviously
Yeah.
the future is like awesome for you going out there. And now that we're going into the festive season, everyone wanting drinks and whatever. What are your go-to? What are your recommendations? What are
Ooh, festive season. I think I am a whiskey drinker. I like whiskey and wine. But I think wine, gins, and like bubbly prosecco, they're so easy to turn into punches or like little cocktails that you can have with family. I would always say use fresh like berries, fresh fruit and stuff to add a bit more flavor. Like if you like gin, a pink gin, you'd rather use something like blackberries and maybe like some lime, some soda, some ginger ale. Those things taste good. Keep try and add the citrus because it's quite hot. So adding a citrus to your drinks makes it a bit more refreshing during this like a hot
your season?
season. Prosecco, mimosas, sunrise. You can blend some peaches, add your prosecco. That's such a nice, refreshing drink to have. Blend some frozen berries, add your prosecco. So nice and refreshing, but so simple to make.
Okay, that's really, oh wow, that's really, really interesting. And any pairing, do people pair? That's another thing. How usually with wine, like you have wine pairing with cheese and whatever. Cocktails. I mean, do you pair cocktails or
Yeah.
what? What do you do?
You can pair cocktails. I've done pairings for a few clients that do dinners and then they want cocktail pairings. We actually I've collaborated with another chef and we have an event coming up where we're doing seafood and citrus cocktail pairing. So you do pair it. Um, it's just more or less like wine, where you finding something that's gonna carry the dish or complement the dish, and we do the same thing like in mixology as well. You can say like let's say for seafood what kind of dish is it gonna be? Should I go for a citrusy cocktail? If it's citrus, should it be orange? Should it be like tangerines, or should it be lemon? Should it be lime? Those kind of things. So we do pair too, but it's not as popular in them as wine pairing. Yeah.
Okay. Now, with your times, I mean, you work in the evening. Do you have time for friends? What do you do? I mean, how do you get out? Do you have time for, like you said, family is very important to you. But when you're working, I'm looking at your times and I'm saying, do you even have time for a relationship even? I mean, like with your times and everything. Talk to me about that.
So, if I'm being honest, right now my social life is dead. Is dead, and I've been thinking that is it something I could have done better along the way? Because I would not lie, at some point in my life I just chose mixology. I didn't care whose birthday it was. I didn't care. I'm going to work because I knew these are the founding years of my brand and I have to do it. And I didn't have the privilege. I didn't come from a background where my parents just gave me money and say, start this business. No, I used my sister's pay from that month for us to start our business. So I didn't have that privilege of maybe I'll pump some money in if I don't go to work today. I didn't have the privilege of letting go of clients. I needed to build a clientele. And it was non existent because in them, it was not there. Who was having mixology at events? No one. I remember the first
The random uncle will become the barman.
Yeah, and then putting up a border in the middle of the table, and people have their cooler boxes. It was not a thing, and now it's becoming a thing. And I need to show people what I'm trying to do. But the only way I can show people what I'm trying to do is if I get booked. And I started to get booked, and I'd gone through maybe a year and a half of being booked, maybe once every 6 months or once every 3 months, and I'm not making an income. So now I'm getting bookings in, so I'm just going. And I'm going and I'm going and I'm going and I'm going to a point where I notice, okay, my friends don't text me anymore. People are living their lives. And I was not mad at it. And I'm still not mad at it because I knew I chose my business at that time. But now that my business has grown, like now the guys are setting up whilst I'm here. When I get there, I'm just gonna change and get ready to start making drinks, and join the team. I have a bit more time to hang out with friends, although it might not be at the time that they want, because they know Saturdays and Sundays I gotta be at work, and Fridays as well. And during end of year like this, we're working during the week as well because of corporate end of year parties. So it put a strain on my friendships. My family understood. It put a strain on my friendships, and I just had to start rebuilding that. So I don't have much of a social life really. I told myself 2024 I'm gonna have a social life. I'm gonna start going out and doing stuff, but I don't have much of a social life. I do have a partner, the most supporting person ever. He really is supportive. So even when I'm busy, it's like the kind of person that will say, okay, what can I do to make it a bit lighter, the load lighter on you? So that works out because I found somebody that's supportive and is always supporting my hustle. So
No,
I'm
I
definitely
think that's really nice and that's really inspiring because I think that's it's important. You need that person, that you can come back to or who's just there to support. When you wind down, I mean, you've been working all weekend. What's your wind down like?
true crime. Like I love true crime. So so I get home and I take a shower, a glass of wine, and I'll watch true crime. Just to come down from that. Because usually what happens with me from events is that especially like today's a big event, right? So I have like 100 and something people, 200 people that I'm gonna interact with. So I'm on an adrenaline high, especially if I know the people, the interactions are a lot. So I'm on an adrenaline high. When I get home, even if I get home at 3 a.m., chances are I won't sleep until like maybe 2, 3 hours. So I just get home and I watch true crime. Yeah, I love watching true crime.
Wow. And then that'll take you down until you
Yeah,
rest.
then I rest.
Oh wow. Okay. That's really inspiring. When you were at school, when you were studying, did you ever think you'd get into this?
No, I never thought so. I thought I was going to, because there's a time when I was working as a chef in Seychelles, and I was like, oh, this is nice. Maybe I'm gonna get a job on an island and just be chopping my life away, frying things. That's what I thought I was gonna do. And growing up, I was never a popular person, and like I was shy, very shy. Like I used to cry if you'd asked me to do this. Like in school, people used to laugh at me. Like, you know, those public speakings and you have to. I would cry even because I was so shy and introverted. So I never saw myself being even like in a public eye ever. I never thought so. So when it actually started becoming a thing, I struggled with it because I was like, that's not who I am. I'm just Ash, you know?
Mm.
And then I don't know, like a lot of things make sense in my life right now and a lot of things I went through. I think I went through those things because this is actually
They're
who I was
preparing
supposed to
you.
be. Yeah, they were preparing me for that.
Mm.
And no matter, I feel like even if I was to get more popular or get popular, I don't know, whatever,
Mm.
I don't think I would ever treat people differently because of what I saw and what I went through on, you know, when nobody knew me. You know,
Mhm.
even when you're trying to explain to somebody, no, I do cocktails, and they just think you're a joke. You know,
Mm.
people just
Yeah, I can imagine, you know.
people just think you're
Mm.
a joke. I remember the time when people would just call me Mskano my drinks, like as Mskano my Coke, my Fanta kind of vibe. And I'll think how rude. But anyway, now it's so different. Like the tone even people use with you sometimes, it's a bit more respectful. And my take is that I think we should all be so kind to each other, nice to each other, because we're all going through different things in our journeys.
Mm.
And I might be at this phase in my journey, but you don't know what I'm gonna be in 2 years' time. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Mm.
So yeah, there's that. So I would definitely not treat people differently.
Mm.
Yeah.
When you look at the future, when you think of the future, where do you see Ashler in 3 and 5 years and this mixology brand?
Mm. I've started to travel a little bit with clients. I love that. I would love to become a traveling mixologist and chef, just going and traveling with my clients, being called in different spaces. I wanna take part in like competitions in Europe because that's where mixology is like wow, and the kind of technologies that they use for making drinks so different. Like the worlds are different. So I think I see myself just elevating my brand a little. We're always going to cater for the kind of events we're doing now, but we want to do more events, more different kinds of mixology. Just adding so much fun to it to just give it like a different look. Um, I would love to have my own place where people just know if we're going here, we're gonna go and get Ashler's drinks and Ashler's food and things like that. Um, but yeah, biggest thing is to being able to travel, doing what I love, doing consultancy work as well. Since now I train like bars, bartenders and things like that for bars and hotels and resorts and things like that.
Mm.
So it was nice. Recently, I traveled to Vic Falls for a brand there, and I just wanted it to go outside of Zim
Mm.
and just become bigger than it already is.
Wow. So when you're out there, when you're out there, out overseas, how you talked about how you'd love to go overseas
Mm.
because the mixology industry is so big. How big is the industry? I mean, what are the trends there?
The industry is huge. It's really huge. Outside of Africa, it's really big. The the only African country I would say, okay, maybe two countries I would say that are close to what people are doing in Europe when it comes to mixology is Nigeria and SA. Ghana is coming along too. In Europe there's a lot of technologies and gastronomy and different kind of things that they use that we don't have here. Like for me, a lot of my clients would love me to do the whole smoke event dry ice thing. The one event we had to do it, we had to get it from SA. It was so expensive. And then now I don't get access to that in Zim. So finding it is so difficult.
Mm.
So it just leaves us a bit behind.
Mm.
But it's starting to come along as well. So but
Mm.
the industry is really big. I cannot even explain to you how many different mixology things are out there that Zim we're yet to actually
Like at
see
the
and
tip of
experience.
the.
We're just getting started.
Uh,
And that's my thing is every time someone says, "Oh wow, you did that," and I say we're just getting started because
mm.
we want to do everything. Like I would love when I started, I always say I want the regular Zimbabwean to have the best drink that they can, even if they can have it in their home and make it on their own.
Mm.
That for me is nice.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. I'm so excited. So we're gonna definitely do a part two of this
Okay.
because I wanna see you in action. I wanna, and I think it would be good for our viewers as well
Yeah.
to just see you in action as well. So before we go, I just want a few fun questions. What's your favorite color and why?
Um, Black, because it just goes with everything. So yeah, it just goes with everything. So I just go for
Easy.
black most of the time.
And your favorite pet and why? Animal?
Pet, I have puppy Zozo, and that's my favorite, my favorite pet. I love Zozo so much.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh my, is it one of those like the chihuahuas
Yeah,
or?
she doesn't grow.
Uh-huh.
So she doesn't grow. She's very clingy. Unfortunately, I don't stay with her right now. My parents took her in because my apartment complex doesn't allow. So I have had to take her to my parents' house for now. But she came on a random day when we're eating Zondo, so we called her Zondo. So that's why we call her Zozo. That's why we call her Zozo. So yeah, I absolutely love my puppy.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. What are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm not reading. I've been terrible at reading. I'm not reading anything. I would be lying.
And what's your favorite film of all time?
Oh, um, is that Denzel Washington? John Q.
Ah, oh yeah, oh
John
yeah,
Q.
that's sort of yeah, that was a good movie. And song? Who was your favorite artist?
Um, oh, I absolutely love Takura. I don't know why. I love his music.
Eh,
Like currently obsessed with Takura's music. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. So we're packing our bags, and we're about to go somewhere. Where are we going?
We are going to an island.
Mm.
We're going to an island, or we're going somewhere very cold. But I want to say we're going to the Maldives.
Oh wow, that would be nice, especially at this time of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really nice. So Ash, it's really been like an amazing afternoon just being with you. I just want you to give me 5 life lessons that you've had to just close us off.
Okay. Oof. 5. The first one is you gotta get up and do it because no one's coming to save you. Like you have family and everything, but you just gotta get up and do it because no one's coming to save you. It took me quite some time to realize that. The second one is just to be kind to people that you come across. And more importantly, kind to yourself, especially when you make mistakes, especially when things don't go your way. Be gentle and kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself down. Third one is live your life to the fullest. Just do whatever it is that you want to do. Just do it, and you don't get time back. So just do whatever it is you want to do, whatever you want to explore. Just do it. You don't get time back, and then I don't know what else would I say. I don't think those are the most important lessons I can think of off the top of my head, really.
Mm,
But yeah, just being kind to yourself. I think that one is very important.
mm,
Also, yeah, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. Whether it's professional help, whether it's from a family member, from a friend, or whatever. But it's okay to ask for help. You can't do it all on your own, as
mm.
much as we want to. But we need people, so it's okay to ask for help.
And a message to a young person out there who's looking at you and thinking, I want to get into this. What's your message to them right now?
I think start as early as you can with the little that you have, but it's not gonna be an easy journey. It's gonna be a lot of hard work that you have to put in. It's gonna be a lot of dirty work that you don't wanna do, lifting, cleaning, doing all of these things. But it's okay. It's only just a phase. You just need to focus, have achievable goals. Okay, by 2024, my bar should be looking like this. My team should have grown like this. Achievable goals are very important. I would also go out there and connect with people, talk to as much people as you can, connect with people because we're worth our network. Like, I started realizing I never used to get bookings, but when I started talking to people, people are like, oh no, I know someone that does cocktails. You're hosting an event. And it was just that easy for people to start talking about what I do because I was interacting with people about my work. And then if you're trying to build a brand visibility, please post until we're sick of you, because now we're not gonna forget. So brand visibility is so important. And then brand alignment, the things that you associate yourself with, the people that you associate yourself with, the spaces, the things that you interact with on social media, the people you interact with. Brand alignment. Talk to people that have beverages, Don't spend your days talking about things that are irrelevant to mixology. Spend your days invested in what you want to do.
That's a nice way to close off. So as we're going into the week, remember, network, your network is your net worth. Associate with those brands or with the things that you're aligned to. So thank you so much, Ashler. Thank you so much for coming through this afternoon. And I'm looking forward to our next session where we're going to have drinks. And we actually, I think, let's do a pairing kind of thing. Let's have cocktail and food, actually. I think that's what we'll do when we have you on there. So I want you guys to look out for that. We'll probably do it as a live event, right? That'll be nice.
Yes, that'll be nice.
So thank you to our viewers. Please continue to subscribe. Continue to share the videos. And please do send us your comments. They really help us to grow. So for today, thank you so much and goodbye. See you next time.